Oh, yes, it's that time. Once again, you are checking out an all new the RCWR Show. Lee Sanders here. You're checking out episode number 603, coming at you guys on July the 10th, 2018. What's going on, guys? We were jamming a little bit, man. You don't have access to Facebook. You missed a good couple of minutes of me blasting the hell out of the police, a live rendition of Wrapped Around Your Finger. That is from the certifiable DVD that honestly features the one and only Mr. Copeland, who is just doing his thing on the drums, on the percussions, all that. I highly recommend, if you guys have not checked that out, go check it out. I'm telling you, it is 6+ minutes of pure freaking bliss. Oh my God. If you guys are a big police fan, you definitely will love that. I know I'm not talking about the police that's running around in your local precinct. I'm talking about Sting and the police. And no, I'm not talking about the wrestler Sting. I'm talking about the actual rock fusion Jamaican jazz band. I mean, they got so many things going on, But yeah, we're having a little bit of fun on Facebook before we went on ahead and simulcast on all the platforms. So now we're synced up. We're coming at you live for the next little bit on YouTube, on Facebook, on Mixler, on Spreaker, also live via the RCWR Show app. Now, I got to be honest with you guys. Tonight, I actually was going to phone it in. My mind was made up during the 9 o'clock hour that I just was going to take tonight off. I was just going to take the whole week off, come on Sunday to do the Extreme Rules after show, because I'm honestly feeling a little bit burned out. If you guys have been checking out all the shows we've been putting out the past several weeks, it's been a good minute since I just said, guys, I'm phoning it in this week. That hasn't happened in a couple of months. I would honestly have to say it has not happened since I had that heavy workload dealing with that security company you longtime listeners remember from several months back. So, remember, we also did a new episode of the RCWR Show pre 4th of July holidays. So, yeah, the fatigue just all of a sudden kind of kicked in. And my girl was like, consistency, you're always talking about consistency. I said, yeah, I know. I said, but I'm just not feeling it tonight. I just don't, she's like, well, you got a responsibility there. I'm like, yeah, I know. And then I said, okay, let me suck it up. I'll go ahead. I'll do it. So I'm here. I was a little bit reluctant to do it, but I said, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do it. But no, it's just one of those days where you have some weeks. I'm sure some of my fellow colleagues can definitely feel where I'm coming from. Some weeks you just want to phone it in and you just want to call it a day. But we're going to try to see if we can do at most 90 minutes. But if I can be done less than that, I'm trying to stay clear from midnight as possible because I have a dentist appointment tomorrow. So on top of dealing with work, I've also got to leave work a little bit early to go and do the dentist appointment. So I'm kind of a little bit nervous because it's been a couple of years since I've seen the dentist, and it's a good nervous basically because something that has been a passion of mine for many years, but it just seems like the timing never has been right. I have always wanted to get braces. Now, I'm sure you longtime listeners, you probably see I have a gap in between my teeth, my upper teeth, and I have all my teeth. I just have what's basically the trademark Eddie Murphy gap, right? Except mine is just a little tiny bit bigger. So for years, that's always bothered me. And ever since my girl started working at this place where she's at now, a couple of months back, she has been telling me, honey, you got to come over here. They can hook you up. These guys are awesome. The staff is great. I love these guys. You got to come on board. And usually I shy her away, but this go round has just been a situation where, you know what? Why do I keep putting it off? Let's go ahead. Let's do it already. So I'm going to go in for a evaluation, get some x-rays and all that done. And we're going to pretty much go from there because she pretty much was telling me how the whole thing goes down as far as getting braces and all that. And I told her, I said, so what are my options? Are am I going to have the option of going with the traditional wired braces? She goes, no, 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 no. We only deal with Invisalign. That's all we do is Invisalign. And I'm like, well, how exactly does the Invisalign work? So apparently, once everything is a green light, they basically send the x-rays, send it off to the people so they can make your sets. And then you basically come in, get your set, use that for a bit, come back. Basically, the way it's set up, once you've used one set for X amount period of time, you come back without there being any gaps. If everything goes right, you should, right as it's time for you to get a new set of braces, Invisalign braces, you go in, swap out basically, and you keep it going. So looks like they only offer Invisalign, and I hear that's a little bit expensive, but she really had encouragement because she's like, look, I know you want to be on point for the CM Punk event in Chicago next month. Even more the reason why, if you come on in now, you can probably get fitted and all that for your braces. And if we get you in just in time, it's like, if we do it now, we should be able to get you in braces by the time we meet CM Punk. I'm like, oh, okay, well, all right, let's go ahead, let's do it. So a little bit nervous with that, but really, I just it's just one of those nights. I don't want to be pushing the show a little bit too long, so I'm gonna be keeping track of time. So we'll see how it goes tonight. I do hope that you guys had a fantastic 4th of July holiday, because I know right before the 4th we did come on, we did a show for you guys. So however you were doing it, hope you were doing it in style. Also contributing to the burnout, I did do a couple of bonus shows this past week. I don't know how many of you guys were aware of it. I actually had covered the New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 special event in San Francisco. We did just an exclusive audio version of that. So if you guys did not check that out, you can actually scoop it up once you get done with this episode. It's available on demand downloads. And then we also, me and Tammy, we did a new episode of Wrestling with the Topics. Now, if you guys remember, there was a poll that I had put out a couple of weeks ago, and it had to do with Patreon. And I basically had asked you guys straight up, hey, what's going on with you? Are you checking out the new shows on Patreon? Would you like it if a situation occurred where maybe we can give you 2, maybe 3 episodes of Wrestling with the Topics from time to time, maybe try to entice you to come on board, become a Patreon member so you can check that out and more exclusive audio, video content. And the polling results was very interesting. Basically, we had a majority of people that weren't even aware that there was a Patreon page of bonus audio and video content, right? That there were other original shows available, not just what you're checking out right now. So a majority of the fans voted in that direction. And then we had some fans that also were saying, Lee, I got to be honest, money is just so freaking tight, man. I would if I could, but money is so tight. So me and the missus, we had kicked on back and we basically were brainstorming. And basically what we came up with was, okay, when we do the next 2 to 3 episodes of Wrestling with the Topics, we'll actually put that out on the downloads and on demand for you guys to check out. So our Patreon audience, they already had got first dibs. So they got you guys beat. Come Wednesday, they would have had you guys beat by almost just about 3, almost 4 days, right? So we're going to release that. The latest episode that we did over the weekend, we're going to release that for you guys on the downloads and on demand. You guys will be able to check that out. I'm debating on if I want to release it Wednesday night or if I want to release it on Thursday night. So, check it out. Let me know what you guys think and everything like that. So that's just some of the stuff that's been going down. I got some other cool stuff I want to give you heads up about, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the show. But come on, gather around. Let's have a little bit of fun for this next little bit, man. So, yeah, that damn New Japan Pro Wrestling event, man. I can't stress it enough. And shout out to those of you who we had polled right after the event had concluded. I asked you guys, what did you think of the G1 event? Majority of you guys were like, that thing was actually pretty damn awesome. And I would have to say if there was maybe a second place, I want to say second place, you guys were staying in the middle, but I know for certain third place, there were you guys that definitely did not watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. And you mean to check it out. Yeah, let me actually let you know about the polling results that came in. So I polled you guys two different ways. I polled you guys on YouTube, and then I polled you guys on Twitter. So with regards to YouTube, 12% of you guys had gave the G1 USA event a thumbs down. And then we have a tie at 23%. There are those of you that's staying in the middle, and there are those of you that don't follow New Japan Pro Wrestling, sadly. But 42% of you guys went on ahead and you gave that one a thumbs up. So I thought that was a pretty telling tale. Now, I don't want to make any promises. I'm only going to spend a few seconds to try to see if I can retrieve it, but I doubt I can retrieve it. I'm actually on Twitter right now, and I'm trying to see if I can pull up that New Japan poll, because that was actually one of the last things I did. I really haven't been that active on Twitter the past couple of days. Again, been a little bit burned out, but let me see if I can actually pull that up for you guys real quick. I see the Raw one, so we'll talk about Raw in a little bit. And then let me see if I can pull up actually the New Japan one. New Japan. Yeah, I'm about to hit it, guys, because I see I was going back and forth with somebody with regards to New Japan. So hang on a second here, guys. Let me see if I can get that in. And survey says, yeah, okay, I'm on the plug of the after show. Here we go, guys. 4% of you tie, thumbs down, staying in the middle. 17% of you haven't watched, but will. Sadly, with regards to Twitter, you can only put in 4 options. I wish you could put in 5 options, because my 5th option would have been don't follow New Japan Pro Wrestling at all. Sorry, lad. I wish I could have had a 5th option, but 4%, we told you about that. 17%, we told you about that. 75% of you gave the G1 USA event a thumbs up. So, I mean, overall, the consensus was, this was actually a pretty damn good event. I'm not going to do a whole bunch of rehashing and all that, but one thing that I did want to home in on, 2 areas from this event that I did want to home in on from what came about from this event. One, there was a devastating move that had went down in a particular match that honestly you could have very easily missed it the first go round. I know I definitely did. And usually when I'm watching these events, I mean, truth be told, I wasn't even going to cover the G1 event, but it was like, okay, you did the last couple of Wrestle Kingdoms. This is kind of like a big deal. New Japan's back in the States again. What the hell, go for it. So I started jotting down a little bit of notes, started getting the show set up and everything. So I actually missed this spot when it went down initially, but when it was brought to my attention, I definitely went out of my way, because I actually watched the event on Access TV as opposed to the New Japan World app. So I was able to watch it for free. Thank you, Mark Cuban, for that. For everybody, if you have Access TV, you win, right? So, well, technically it's not free because you have a cable satellite bill, right? But who needs to be technical right now? But anyway, so you had the spot that had went down. First off, the match that's in question, for those of you that maybe want to go out of your way, check this out. The match in question at the G1 special in San Francisco, it was Dragon Lee taking on Hiromu Takahashi. And if I butchered that name wrong, you New Japan Pro Wrestling hardcore fans, please be gentle, be very nice, be polite, most importantly, be respectful. Let me know, hey, you almost got it, but look it up some more. I am getting the hang of it. I haven't been watching that much New Japan in previous years. I've actually been stepping it up more this calendar year, trying to watch a lot more of the promotion. So give me some time. I'll definitely eventually have these names down as far as pronunciations and everything. But Dragon Lee had took on Hiromu Takahashi. And the spot in question, it was a Phoenix Plex that basically Phoenix Plex that went totally fucking wrong. Now, for those of you that are maybe going like, what the fuck is a Phoenix Plex? Like, what the hell are you talking about? I think the best way to describe a Phoenix Plex, basically, you go around your opponent and you're almost kind of, normally when you see it, okay, here's a perfect analogy. The perfect Plex. Remember how Mr. Perfect, the late Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, would grab his opponents in the submission move and he would do the perfect Plex? Well, it's almost kind of like that, except rather than continue to hold on to your opponent, you're actually releasing them, right? So we see that Dragon Lee does this similar move, but he releases the opponent. And I tell you what, just the way that my man Takahashi had landed. I mean, you got to play it back in slow motion, but Takahashi actually had landed on the back of his head, and you can just see the way his neck had bent. His neck bent in such a way that that should not have happened. So a lot of people were kind of freaking out about that as soon as they had heard what had went down. Now, New Japan Pro Wrestling, they did provide an update on Takahashi's status, and they basically said he's in a state right now where he can sit, he can talk, he's conscious. He is able to move, his fingers. He's able to move his feet and everything. So those are really good signs of that's good, right? That's a very good sign, right? I mean, last thing you want is shit a Christopher Reeve situation, right? That's the last thing you want. But he's continuing to go further examinations as we speak right now. And it almost kind of goes back to what my girl was saying as we were watching the event. It's cool because I know some fellas they gotta like force their significant others to watch wrestling with them or whatever the sport is, right? But I'm fortunate. My girl, she grew up on wrestling, and ever since I started getting into the whole New Japan Pro Wrestling, she's been actually trying to watch that more with me, because don't even get her started on WWE. It's kind of gotten to that point where she's just like, so what else is on? She knows I'm watching it because I have to talk about some of the things that go about, but New Japan, she's almost as excited as I am when I'm watching New Japan, to the point it was awesome. She comes in from work tired as hell, sees me watching New Japan G1, and she goes, "Oh, you're watching wrestling?" She's like, "You're not taking a night off?" I'm like, "Nah." I'm like, "I gotta watch this event. It's live right now." She's like, "You gonna do an after show?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's watching it with me the entire time, at least up until her girlfriend had called, and then they started talking. But she watched about at least 90% of the event with me. And one of the things that she had said was, during the bout, she said, "Man, some of these guys, they're moving so damn fast. They're moving so fast. They need to take their time and they need to tell the story. I'm seeing nothing but spot fest after spot fest." And I told her, I said, and you guys can go back. You guys that listen to the after show, I'm very consistent here. I'm not switching it up. I literally said the same thing that I'm saying right now. And I said to her, I said, that's a very good point, but hun, that's a lot of how the other wrestling promotions are. You got a lot of them that operate this way. And I know we've got people that are spinning their own little web on the articles out there talking about how, Dragon Lee, and some people are going, Dragon Lee was just careless and all this other stuff. And we've heard some veteran wrestlers like Chris Jericho even step up to the plate and offer his opinions. Can I just talk about it from two different standpoints? Let me talk about it from the standpoint of someone that knows what it's like to be in a ring and to be selling moves and taking moves. And when there is a maneuver gone wrong, and I'm at the receiving end of it. Okay. So let me just to kind of bring context around the whole thing and put a nice, pretty little ribbon on it. And I've told this story before. Okay. So you longtime listeners, you got to forgive me if it sounds familiar, but there was a brief period of time, many years ago. I mean, we're talking now at least almost, God, it feels like it's been almost 15 years ago now that, you know, I did try to dip a little bit into the wrestling. And I remember my best friends, Ebony and Bryan, and shout out to them, by the way. Got to tell you about Toys R Us in a hot second, too. That links up to them. Got to tell you about that in a second. But I remember for years, these guys, they had their own respected backyard wrestling promotion, kind of similar to how the Hardys had started off. And these guys were really good, man. I mean, they had all types of cats that would come in and they would participate in this backyard event, and it was badass. I mean, they had the whole costumes down. They actually like almost legitimately built a real ring. All right. And they would load up some of these matches and they would put it up back then on the MySpace page. They didn't do YouTube yet. They may be doing YouTube now. They may be uploading them on YouTube now. I got to get with them and ask them. But I remember out of the guys that had participated at the event on a regular basis, because they would always do like one event. They would try to do one event once a month, and they would put on like about maybe 5 matches. Same guys would wrestle over and over again, different masks, different entrances, different move sets, all that. But you had your fair share of guys that would lend a hand, help out, and everything. And out of the guys, there was probably like about, I want to say, and they may correct me on this, but I want to say there was at least 2, if not 3, that actually had went on to the point they went to go get proper training at a wrestling school. And I believe out of those 2, maybe 3, 1 for sure, very briefly was on the independent circuit. I don't know for how long. That's the only thing. I don't know for how long. I'd have to get with them and ask them for more information. But it was fucking awesome. And I remember there was this one spot where I had took on Bryan, and I was dressed as I had a luchador mask on. I had a muscle tank top shirt, sweatpants, and I don't know what the hell my name was, but I know just the way I was talking. I was talking rather like a roided freak, basically. And basically, I was like saying, "When I get my hands on you, I'm gonna crush the living soul. I'm gonna eat your spine after I rip it out of your body." I was talking like that, basically. And Ebony was like, "That's actually pretty good." Bryan's laughing his ass off because he can't really take me seriously. So we have our match. Long story short, I was supposed to sell a DDT, right? I'm the one that's applying the DDT. So I'm supposed to sell the DDT. Had it all hooked up, nice and pretty and everything. I got Bryan giving me the audibles as we're in the ring. And at one point, he's like, I get him in a headlock, and I'm twerking that bad boy. I'm just working it in, and I'm kind of whispering to him, and he's like, "Give me a DDT. Take me off the rope. Set me up for a DDT." I'm like, "Okay." Set him into the ropes. Get him back. Getting ready to apply the DDT, and I just dropped. I just dropped kind of like I'm doing the people's elbow almost. I just dropped that DDT. Well, sadly, I hit the back of my head, and I literally felt my spine and my neck, the back of my neck, just fucking shift. It was almost like somebody just took it, and almost like a coat hanger. You know that part of the coat hanger, the triangle part, the horizontal part of the hanger. It's almost like somebody just grabbed on that part and just yanked that son of a bitch and then put it back in place, right? And I remember it took me about 30 seconds to get up. It felt like an eternity because I didn't tell them. And the only person I had told at the time was my late ex-wife. And once I told her what had happened, she was like, no, 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 no. She was like, as far as you and any aspirations of being a pro wrestler, like after what you just told me, it's like, no, you're not doing that ever again. You're not doing any more matches. Forget about it. Don't forget about it. It ain't worth it. And I was like, oh, okay, dear. And I was content. I was very content. Because I was scared. I was scared shitless. But it felt like an eternity. I can remember at the time, I literally, once I did the move, you know, Brian's kind of like, you okay? You know, he's whispering to me, he's like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. I was not okay. I actually could not feel my fingers. I couldn't feel my feet. I couldn't feel anything. And I just laid there for, you know, it really felt like an eternity. But eventually I got up. I started to feel my fingers again because that's all I kept doing. I kept saying, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your fingers. And I couldn't, you know, I was like, wiggle your feet, you know, kind of like Uma Thurman and Kill Bill, right? And she's in that scene in the van after she kills Buck, who likes to, you know, and, or was it Zed? Was his name Buck or was his name Zed? You know, I don't know. It's crazy. But anyway, once I finally had came to, you know, I continued on with the match. We finished out the match, and I believe I put Bryan over in that match. And then afterwards, that's when I actually had, you know, later on that night, that's actually when I had told my girl what the fuck had went down. Because I asked her, I said, how long was I actually on the mat? And she said, what are you talking about? It's like when I did the DDT spot. She was like, oh, that spot. She's like, yeah, how long was I actually laid out there? She goes, oh, you must have been on your back for about 30 seconds, maybe 60 seconds. I don't know why. And once I told her what had happened, that's when it was like, no, you can't do that. And to this day, I still feel certain sensations in my spine area. Now I've gotten MRIs done and everything, and if anything, I've been told that I have a hairline fracture in my spine. I remember there was one year it was so bad they basically had to give me a steroid injection shot. And I'm telling you, if you have never gotten a steroid injection shot before, or cortisone shot, whatever the hell they want to call it, the needle is so fucking long. Now, for you guys that are checking out the audio stream, you're not able to see me, but visually, the needle is basically like, oh, I would say the needle that they put into your body is like about maybe 10 to 12 inches long. And they just put that son of a bitch in you. And I tell you, when you first see that needle, you're going like, oh my God, that is gonna actually go into, whoa, what the hell, right? And you can't just ram that bad boy in. You got to be very particular where you put it, or else fuck with the wrong nerve, and that's going to be some serious fucking problems, okay? So, and I've been, knock on wood, I've been fine since I've gotten that injection, because after that incident alone, I could not do the simplest things like months down the road. I couldn't do something as simple as bend over, tie my shoe. I cannot do something as simple as sweep. So when that, trust me, when that happened, I did feel somewhat the rippling effects afterwards, especially with some of the odd jobs I did where I was doing a lot of heavy lifting, right? So I'm good now, knock on wood, but once in a blue moon, I still feel that sensation. So what did I learn that valuable day when that incident had occurred? First off, I did a move that I did not practice enough with Bryan. We did not communicate to each other enough, you know, what exactly beforehand, before we did the match together, we did not communicate beforehand what all we were going to be doing, right? Not even to the point of, okay, what's your finisher? What am I looking for? You know, we didn't even work it out like that. You know, we pretty much just went into the ring, and then off the fly, we were just putting shit on the wall, trying to see what will basically work. Okay. Some guys in the professional business, they don't talk to it. And this is what I've learned from friends that are currently in the business or were in the business. Some people, they just they don't work out what they're going to be doing with each other in their match together. Some people, they just show up and magic happens. And then you have other guys that, well, hey, so we got this match coming up. How do you see it playing out? What did you have in mind? You know, you want to go over the spots right now? You know, what I need to be looking for? Someone will actually sit down and they will communicate with each other. All right. Now, look, I feel in my heart of hearts that Dragon Lee has executed that move so many times that I'm sure that for an opponent like one in Takahashi, okay, you know, you're going to do this spot. All right, cool. You know, but accidents can and will happen. I mean, when you are doing a move like that, a particular move like what he's like what Dragon Lee was doing, an injury can happen. It is like Russian roulette. Sooner or later, it is going to happen. Okay. And, you know, if I'm Dragon Lee right now, my advice to Dragon Lee is don't beat yourself up. You know, accidents happen. This type of stuff happens all the time. I think what's now very important, what's going to be a telling tale going forward, if you're Dragon Lee, is, do I continue to do this move? Do I continue to do this move knowing that, hey, something could happen down the line where maybe the next opponent won't be as lucky? Maybe they'll have a similar situation like the story that I told you in my personal life, only they might not get up. They might not be fortunate enough to get up, right? So Dragon Lee has to make a decision about how badly does he want that move to continue to be in his repertoire? So much so that he has to have it in there, or can he do without it? And just based on what I've seen of the young man off and on, some of the promotions he's worked with, I would say he honestly does not need that move as part of his move set. He can do without it, honestly. And you know, it's just sad that he's catching a lot of heat right now. You know, I understand, but I you know, I really don't think he should be getting it. Accidents can and they will fucking happen. So Dragon Lee, brush yourself off, man. You know, if you're beating yourself up and you're feeling sorry, I think honestly the best thing you can do is just check in with your man. Check in with your man Takahashi. Make sure he's okay. Ask him if there's anything he need or whatever. You know, you want to be a good sport. Pay for his bill, right? I mean, all signs are indicating that he's probably going to be having a speedy recovery, but I would imagine doctors probably may want him to take it easy for a little bit. I would not be surprised if the way that he landed, I would not be surprised if there is some type of bruising, if there might be just the slightest hint of a hairline fracture, and maybe he needs to take it easy per doctor's orders for the next couple of weeks so it can heal properly. I would not be surprised if that type of a verdict had came down. But everybody that's putting this poor guy under the microscope and everything, just chill off of that. All right, just chill. The other thing I wanted to talk about from the G1 USA special was the spot that went down with Jay White and Juice Robinson. You had that spot there where Juice Robinson went flying into Jim Ross, Josh Barnett as they were on commentating. And apparently that spot was not planned. JR actually ended up getting hurt. JR saying apparently that he might have had a bruised rib and all that. You know, you see Josh Barnett, he looked like he was damn near about to maul the hell out of Jay White. And everybody was taking to social media. I actually saw a little bit of this in real time as it was happening because I was interacting with a good amount of folks on Twitter and everything and a couple of other outlets. And they were like, oh, my God, you saw what happened with this? Man, you see what happened to Jim Ross? Oh, man, Josh Barnett is pissed, man. Josh Barnett should not be conducting himself like that, you know, on the network. He needs to be removed. That's just appalling. That's just disgusting, blah, 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 blah. And then to see what JR had said afterwards. Speaking of what, JR actually had Josh Barnett on his show this week, so I'm sure they went a little bit more into that spot that came about. But JR is saying for what it's worth. Now, you can say it's a damn good work and JR is just working everybody really good, or it's kayfabe, right? Um, Work kayfabe, or it's legit. Sorry about that. But JR basically said, hey, look, that spot wasn't talked about, wasn't rehearsed. That legitimately was real. You know, I'm okay though. Appreciate what Barnett had did, but yeah, I'm actually okay. Why my phone is doing that, I have no idea. That's actually kind of weird. My phone just lit up for no apparent reason, and I don't know why. Oh, you know what? Probably because I haven't restarted it in almost 2 weeks. Let's see if that actually helps. Sorry about that, guys. You know what? Josh Barnett, I said it on the after show, and I'm still sticking to it now that a little bit more info has come out. Josh Barnett is not one of those types of individuals that, oh, I'm just going to go into work for myself. He just does not operate that way. At the same time, I would not be surprised if eventually, because of the relationship that Barnett, Jim Ross have with Mark Cuban, the relationship / connection that they have with New Japan, I would not be surprised if maybe somewhere down the line, if maybe Josh Barnett were to get in the New Japan Pro Wrestling ring and he does a little bit of competition. You know, a lot of people forget he's over the past couple of years, he's dipped in and out of a little bit of wrestling. One of the last endeavors he had, he took on Bobby Lashley, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say he might have even did something with Moose over down in Impact Wrestling, but I can't be too sure about that right now. But, you know, as far as whether or not it's a work, I really don't care. I got to be honest with you. I really don't care if it was a work or not, because for me personally, that shit just looked good. That shit looked good. I missed it the first go round, but when I watched it on the DVR, I'm going, yeah, that looks pretty damn good. Especially given the fact that you have people that legitimately don't like Jay White. And I mean, he was getting some great heat reaction at the G1 event. I mean, I was eating that up, especially when the spot went down with JR. I ate all that up. So, I mean, for me, whether or not it was kayfabe or it was legit, for me, I loved what went down either way. It got people talking, and I think that's the main thing that a lot of people are missing. And then, like, once you realize that, oh, who's in charge of Access TV? Who's the brainchild behind it? You go, Mark Cuban. Oh, well, shit. Yeah, Mark Cuban, he's still a freaking rebel. I remember when he first came into the NBA league. What a rebel. I mean, he was like the Dennis the Menace to David Stern, the NBA commissioner at that time. You know, he was like the Dennis Miller to David Stern's Mr. Wilson, basically. I mean, he was driving Commissioner Stern ape shit crazy. He was trying his best to calm down Cuban. All right. And it just seemed like over the years, eventually Cuban started mellowing out a little bit. You know, he started getting a little bit more mature, but oh my God, was he a renegade at the time? Any longtime NBA fan can tell you how much of a damn renegade that dude used to be. So I'm sure that as far as you guys, that's like, oh, you know, Josh Barnett needs to be fired. That's not happening. Look, if it was, let's put it to you this way: if it was legit, don't you think Access TV would have released some type of a statement by now saying that Josh Barnett has been suspended from all remaining number of broadcasts for New Japan on Access TV? Don't you think something like that would have happened by now? The fact that nothing like that has happened, the fact that you haven't seen anything about Josh Barnett has been fine. You know, if we're going to go with the whole story arc and everything, just the fact that nothing like that has happened, oh, guys, I'm kind of going with it was a work, and what a damn good one it was, because it got a lot of you guys talking. So enough said on that one. Switching gears a little bit. Hey, by the way, hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. If you are, smash that like button. Hulk smash. Smash that like button. And for you guys that's actually watching the YouTube stream, you guys will be happy to know, and I think everybody will be happy to know, but I really love the fact that our YouTube audience, when they're watching the stream, just below the video, you can see something really, really cool. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, I know the episode description is a little bit long. Uh, you guys may be seeing the abbreviated version, and you have to click the arrow for expanding it. But what's really cool now is you can now see RCWR Show merchandise. So I didn't want to get all batshit crazy just yet on the merchandise. I wanted to start off kind of slow and work our way from there. So you guys have available right now the classic RCWR Show logo. Take your pick. You can get it on a mug. You can get it on a t-shirt of any color. You can get it on a workout shirt, right? So I'm looking to see at least 10 of these sell. Now, that doesn't have to be 10 across. It could just be some type of a combination, 10 period. If you guys want some new designs, you got to first represent, and you got to check out these designs, and then we can pretty much go from there. But I'm not going to be spamming the hell out of designs left and right, and that's just silly. Like, why make all these crazy ass designs and merchandise is hardly selling? So represent. I think maybe after I see what comes about during, I would say, the first 30 days, maybe then I'll go on ahead and I'll release just one new design. You know, my goal, honestly, the way I want to kind of set it up is once I see that there's been progress with merchandise selling, then I'll go ahead. You know, the goal is once a month, release something with a new design. So it's not just going to be the traditional show logo. It's also going to be some really, really cool. Trust me, especially if you've been connected with me on Facebook and everything. I've got some really cool last designs, especially now that I've gotten back in the drawing again and everything. For those of you, you should be able to still pull it up on Facebook. You don't need to have Facebook just to see it, but there's actually the Let's Draw with Lee series, and you guys can actually see me drawing Triple H. I'm actually going to be revamping that, putting some music in the background, maybe doing a little bit of color commentating in the background as you guys are watching it. It's really cool. It basically, and the app that I've been using to draw, I really fucking love it. Basically, like, I can draw for 3 hours in real time, and this app basically will it'll like fast forward all of what I did in 3 hours. It'll like take those 3 hours and it will basically shorten it into like 10 minutes. But you're watching everything and how it all had played out. It's really badass, the app that I'm using. And I got to thank my friend Bryan for hooking me up with that. It's a pretty damn awesome app. So I'm going to kind of go back and forth with the talk of wrestling and some other stuff. Another thing I had wanted to get into on this week's show, I did not get a chance to get into it on last week's show because of the 4th of July holiday. But I did speak to my best friend Ebony, and shout out to her. I hope she's doing well. I wanted to talk about the recent closing, officially now, of Toys R Us. And for me, this hits very close to home because Ebony has worked for Toys R Us. She worked for them for, I would say, almost 20 years. Almost 20 years she worked for them. And I remember the day that she was hired. The day that she was hired, me, her now husband, Bryan, we all were in the same college together. We attended the same college. We took the same courses together. And we were ecstatic for her when she got hired. We were like, oh my God, you're working at a place where a kid can fucking be a kid. That's badass. You've got like the greatest fucking job in the world. That's like fucking awesome. And we were so ecstatic for her. And we're saying to ourselves, well, this is great for her because she loves helping people. She loves putting smiles on people's faces. And she just has such a bubbly, cool, kick ass personality. This just works on so many levels. It's just good. And then as the years had progressed, it was just a situation where the longer you worked, it seemed, the more bullshit that came about. And the more bullshit that came about, the more frustration that one would get, to the point one would go, what the fuck is my motivation here? Why do I continue to stay with this job when I should be testing the green grass in other places? What the hell? But I can understand it, because if it's a situation where boom, 1 year goes by, then 3 years, then 5 years, and yeah, a lot of time flies. And then the type of hours that you work, and I mean, man, them Toys R Us employees, they work ridiculous hours. They really, really do. They work ridiculous hours, and you don't really have that much of a life. Sadly, I watch my own friend, and I'm sure she will not have any problem, because I picked her brain on everything that had went down, and I told her, I said, look, any comment, because I'm going to be talking about this on the show. And she was very candid with me, so I'm not saying anything that she did not approve. But for all the years that she had put in with the company, all the sacrifices that she had made with regards to her and everybody else that were Toys R Us employees, as far as she's concerned, and from the other employees that she spoke with and everything, everybody just feels like they got royally fucked from poor decisions that Toys R Us had made, that ultimately had led to their demise. Point being, there were many meetings leading up to all of these stores closing, way before the announcements were made. There were many meetings that regional managers had with district managers and store managers, warehouse managers, and everything, trying to figure out ways that they could try to turn a profit. They could try to gain a little bit of media attention and everything. And it all just fell on deaf ears. So many great ideas, so many great brainstorming ideas were put out there, and everything just fell on deaf ears. And it was really fucking sad. Yes, I do believe that from a business standpoint, from what the Wall Street Journal was saying and a couple of other outlets, did Toys R Us back themselves into a corner where there were a lot of bad deals that they had made? Yes, there were a lot of bad deals, but ultimately, you talk to any former Toys R Us employee, they will tell you the same thing, which is evolution had passed them by, somewhat very similar to what had went down with Blockbuster. And it still gives me a chuckle to this day when I realize, like, hey, Blockbuster could have still been in business if they would have bought Netflix. They had an opportunity to buy Netflix before it became the phenomenon juggernaut that it is today. They had an opportunity to buy Netflix in its very early baby stages of life. And Blockbuster, they passed on it. And boy, about 5 years later or whatever, it came back to bite them in the ass 10 times fold. Evolution got the best of Toys R Us. I'll give you a perfect example. When's the last time you saw a Toys R Us commercial? I mean, yeah, you have a situation occur where you get your Sunday newspaper, you see some Toys R Us flyers or whatever like that. Hell, I can't even recall the last time I saw a Toys R Us flyer in my newspaper. That's how long it's been. When's the last time you saw a Toys R Us commercial? You can pretty much see commercials for every single ma and pa local business that is closing its doors. Come on in now. Everything has to go. This is it. Our store is closing. There will be no other. There's no other locations. This is it. Come on, come all. Going out of business. Everything is on sale. 70% to 90% off. Once it's gone, it's gone. Like, you didn't even see Toys R Us doing any of those type of commercials. This is just how lazy that they got. I feel that Toys R Us honestly had got very, what's the right word I want to use in this case? I think they got complacent with where they were. And it's just, oh no, my name is no, we're good. The money's gonna come. Don't worry about it. You know what? We got a good thing going. Why we got it? Nah, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. We're good. We're good. We'll be all right. They got complacent. And when you get complacent, that always gets the best of you. You always have to stay hungry. And that is just honestly something that applies to life in general. The minute that you become complacent, you're not living life. You should always be trying to push the limits. You should always be, as I always like to say from time to time, you should always be continuing to push that envelope, always the pursuit of knowledge, always the pursuit of happiness, always the pursuit of constantly learning. That's what life is all about. So for Toys R Us to just be as complacent as they were, could you just imagine, just close your eyes for a second. Could you just imagine if a new CEO or if a new marketing manager or a marketing team were in place of Toys R Us? Well, man, you know what would be really badass if we could work out some type of an exclusive deal with the WWE where we could carry a specific line of their toys that we know everybody is going to be flocking to our stores to come see. Well, you know what? What if on top of that, we could have there be a situation where we can get a certain amount of WWE superstars that could visit certain Toys R Us's. Like every fucking calendar month, you can always have throughout the whole year, all of your Toys R Us stores would be visited, assuming it's not in a ghetto, right? But then again, does it really matter? It's all about exposure, right? It's all about exposure. You're trying to push the sales, right? So I don't really think the location matters. As long as you got your security or whatever, that's all that really matters. But no, could you just imagine throughout the whole calendar year, like the top maybe grossing Toys R Us's in the US? You have an arrangement with the WWE where certain superstars would come. They'd be available for photo ops, autographs. You know, maybe you could get like some bonus stuff if you spend $25 or more at Toys R Us. That'll get you something really cool from that WWE superstar or whatever. Or maybe you could do the photo op and autograph if you buy, you know, who knows, however way you want to work it. But that's just one cool thing that you can do. And like, how many of you are aware of Double Dare? You remember Double Dare, the TV show on Nickelodeon? Well, that show is actually back. They pump out new episodes every single week. I actually recorded a couple of episodes. And I tell you what, it's not quite like what I remember, because what I remember was 10 times better. I think the girl that's the new host, I think she does an okay job. She's very cute on the eyes, I must say. Very cute on the eyes. Mark Summers is there, but he's not really much of a factor. Yeah, he's the executive producer of it, but he's kind of just really chilling in the background. It's mainly this young girl that's the host of the show. But imagine if you could do a deal where if you're Nickelodeon, you know, hey, we've got this new show. We're trying to spread the word about it. Okay, well, let's hook up with Toys R Us. Maybe we can do a Mark Summers meet and greet. And, you know, how badass would that be? See, that type of stuff right there, that continues to have your name be put out there. You are doing great strategic marketing, you know, things like this. If you and me can think about all of these cool type of ideas, why the hell didn't Toys R Us implement these type of ideas. That's because they just got complacent. They just felt that no, we're name or our merit, no, we're good. We don't need to worry about all that. We're okay. And ultimately, that's honestly what had got the best of them. They stopped being innovative. They just did. And I don't care what spokesperson for Toys R Us wants to spin it. You ask any Toys R Us employee, they will also tell you that another thing that was the nail in their coffin was e-commerce. I mean, come on, just picture that. Can't find the toy that you're looking for. Fuck, man, at least with Best Buy, if there's a DVD you can't find, at least Best Buy, they take you to a computer, they type in that DVD, and oh, well, this store actually has that DVD. If you like, we can actually order that DVD, have it be shipped to this store for you to pick up. That way, you're still keeping the customer and their dollars with your retail company, right? But with a case like Toys R Us, if you can't find it, it's okay. Well, guess I'm going to go on Amazon. Guess I'm going to go on eBay. Guess I'm going to go visit my mom and pop store or whatever. There used to be a time where Toys R Us was the place to come to for all the latest, hottest video games, for all of the very hottest, latest toys that were out there, exclusive toys that you are not going to be able to find anywhere else. And it's so funny because I remember when we all were in college and we saw the first wave of KB toy stores that closed. And I said to Ebony, I said, do you think that this is going to happen to Toys R Us? And she said, "Oh no, we're too damn popular. No, my God, there's so much money. Oh no, we're good. That's never gonna happen to us." I'm like, okay. And now we fast forward later. My heart goes out to her. My heart goes out to all of the men and women that, when you realize the type of work that they do, and it's not about smiles and happy faces. Maybe those days where you're able to help out a little kid and you're able to make that kid's day, but for the most part, it's fucking slave labor. That's what it is. It's slave labor. The same fucking rate, hourly wage for X amount of years. Because once you reach that certain max limit, that's it. You can't get any more money. It's like, but wait, I've been working with you guys for 20 years. What do you mean I'm capped out at this amount? We got the minimum wage going up. We got all these other things that's going up, taxes and everything else. What do you mean my wage is staying the same? What do you mean my wage, here I am 10 years later, and my wage is still the same as it was 10 years ago, but now we've got new people that's coming on board, that's being hired, and off the break, they're making the amount that I'm making that took me 10 years plus to obtain. That's the type of backward shit that I'm talking about. But you should know the e-commerce had got the best of them as well, because when you're not able to find that item that you're looking for, you run to the mom and pop store on the internet, or you run to the eBay, you run to the Amazon. It's fucking sad. So all of that is ultimately what had got the best. And I tell you what, if you are GameStop, you better tread lightly, because with the option of being able to buy the latest video games from the privacy of your own home, just open up your laptop, go on Steam, or go into the PlayStation store, go into the Microsoft store, buy your games that way, pre-order and all that through them. It's just a matter of time before people are like, okay, seriously, what's the motivation here? Because come on, let's be honest here. You spend that $80, $90 for a limited edition, whatever, or game, basically. Your average game now is $60, $70, $80, right? So you buy that game, and then once you've exhausted the hell out of the replay value, you try to take it to GameStop and they treat you like a fucking crackhead. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I got this limited edition Batman Arkham Asylum set here. I spent about $150 for it. Everything's still intact, game and all. How much you think I can get for this? Oh, we'll give you $20. But I spent $150 for this. Yeah, I know, but yeah, $20. Take it or leave it. And it's like, fuck you. I mean, that's the point that we're getting at, quite honestly. And I think it's just going to be a matter of time before, when you're pre-ordering games from the Microsoft store or from the PlayStation store, I think it's just going to honestly be a matter of time before they start going, "Hey, look, buy directly from us through this outlet, and we're going to hook you up. We're going to make sure that you get this limited edition box set, and you get all these cool perks that come with it. We're going to make sure you get all this." I think it's just going to be a matter of time before they kind of fine tune all that. I wouldn't be surprised if ultimately what could end up happening is what I just mentioned, and or a scenario that occurs where somebody else, another company, steps up to the plate, kicks that door wide open, and really takes innovation and evolving as far as the way we go about getting our gaming content to that next level, that puts GameStop years, light years behind. So, if I'm looking at GameStop, with regards to Toys R Us, that's another thing that I'm looking at as well. And I'm surprised that's another partnership that really did not kind of come to fruition there. A partnership between GameStop and Toys R Us. I'm very surprised that something could not be worked out between those guys as well. But yeah, it's just really sad. When you stop and you think about it, it's quite sad. It really is, that all of those people, and this is the other thing that you got to keep in mind, people. All those people that worked at Toys R Us, they aren't getting. Don't let the media fool you. Go straight to the sources. That's what I did. They aren't getting any severance package, right? They're not getting any type of hey, this is what's going on, and we're sorry for those of you that's going to be out of work. Here's a little something, something. No, no, no. Now the fat cats in the suits, they're going to be getting a little something, something. But that trickling on down to the others, no, that's not happening. That's not happening. And it's quite fucking sad. It really is. So I wish everybody the best. And a lot of people, they got a scary road ahead of them, trying to figure out where that next check is going to be coming from, man, so they can take care of their mortgage, car insurance, all that jazz, man, all that jazz. So I don't really have anything to talk about as far as Raw and SmackDown of this week. I saw how Raw opened up with Roman Reigns, Bobby Lashley. I gotta say, I was quite taken back by the Boston crowd. I really was. I was taken I was taken back by them. I did not expect for them to be cheering the way that they had cheered. And look, on paper, I still say that Roman Reigns. I said Brock Lesnar, didn't I? I meant to say Bobby Lashley. Forgive me, guys. Um, Roman Reigns, Bobby Lashley on paper, it still does not excite me. It still does not. But I know that match will not be the drizzling shits. That much I do know. Forbes had put out a very interesting article this week. I would encourage you guys to go check it out. They're basically saying that it's very possible that Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns may not be a lock for SummerSlam. And based off everything that had went down with the UFC over the weekend, no reason to rehash that, but my God. So, you kind of look at this. We've got these reports that's out there saying, oh, Brock Lesnar, he's only got one more match as part of this contract extension. Remember, man, all these reports that's been floating around with Brock Lesnar, and everybody thinks they know what's going on with his schedule and everything. Just when we think we know what's going on, We know what's going on with his contract. We get swerved. If you ask me realistically right now, what could possibly go down? Considering the fact that I'm just being realistic here, just being realistic. Considering the fact that WWE was able to work out a new deal with the USA Network and they're going to have Raw for a couple of more years, you got SummerSlam right around the corner. I legitimately would not be surprised if the powers that be in WWE are looking at everything that's going down right now and they're honestly saying to themselves, you know what? The Roman Reigns experiment, we've tried many times. Man, the fans are just really loving them. Some Braun Strowman right now. They're kind of warming up to Bobby Lashley. None of these guys, the fans that is, really want to see Bobby Lashley, or correction, Brock Lesnar take on Roman Reigns again. People are a bit tired of that. Maybe it's time we go in a different direction, don't you think? I wouldn't be surprised if this match that's going to be coming about at Extreme Rules, if a situation occurs where maybe it's going to be Bobby Lashley that comes out on top. And I guess we can kind of segue into Extreme Rules since that is going to be going down this weekend. Let's go ahead. Let's segue into that one. Just looking at some of these matches that's going to be coming about right now. Pulling up the card here. Bear with me a second here, guys. Where's my card here? Where's my match card here? Where's it taking place anyway? Is it taking place in Philly? Where's it taking place here? See where we got it. Pennsylvania. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I guess we can go to that match first. Yeah. So Roman Reigns, Bobby Lashley. That should actually be a good match. But you know, if I'm booking this match personally, you gotta build up Bobby Lashley. You don't just build up Bobby Lashley just to feed him to Roman Reigns like that. You just don't. You just don't. Now more than ever, I think the way WWE has turned a bad thing that had came about with him working that program with Sami Zayn, and now you kind of have fans warming up to Lashley and Roman Reigns. Fans have been very vocal. They do not want to see Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar again. They just don't. They've seen it too many times. They're tired of it. So why not give them something new? Why not give them a new threat? Why not give them a new opponent? Give them a new opponent in Bobby Lashley. And I have been saying for years, MMA fans have been saying for years, man, what we would give to see Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar fight, because we never got an opportunity to see it go down. And if it's a situation where, hypothetically speaking, Brock Lesnar could be on his way out the door from the WWE, and this is pretty much one of those last big matches that you might be able to do with the man, then why not have Lashley take on Brock Lesnar? Set this up like a damn MMA fight, basically, but under WWE rules. I mean, I'm seeing some really good, strong writing at its finest between these two men, really living up to the hype, quite honestly. And some people may say, well, okay, so you set that up for SummerSlam, but does Braun Strowman maybe do a cash in? It's possible. It's possible that Braun could do a cash in. It's very well possible. My ass, if I was setting up that SummerSlam main event between Lashley and Lesnar, I would actually have Lesnar retain only for Strowman to come out and finally get him some Lesnar and take the belt off that way. But just considering the fact that overall, kind of going back to what I said just a few seconds ago, just the fact that you got the USA re-signing this new deal with the WWE for Monday Night Raw. Yeah, going forward, you need to have the World Heavyweight title be represented on Mondays. I think it's kind of funny that no world heavyweight champion on Raw. Yeah, you got a world heavyweight champion on SmackDown, and yeah, SmackDown brings in some pretty low numbers, sadly. And you got the champion on SmackDown appearing every single week in matches, all that stuff. So that's where I'm going with that one, though. As far as my pick for Extreme Rules, that's where I'm going. Jeff Hardy taking on Shinsuke Nakamura, United States Championship match. Hmm. Oh man, it's a tricky one right here. Is it safe to say that Nakamura is done chasing after the World Heavyweight Championship? It does kind of feel that way. It does kind of feel that way. But then you kind of wonder, well, who could be next up to step in? I'm still gonna say Daniel Bryan. I'm still gonna say Daniel Bryan. I'm gonna say Jeff Hardy retains. I'm gonna go on ahead. I'm gonna say Jeff Hardy retains. I'm just not seeing a title change. Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin. Baron's been picking on Finn Balor the past couple of weeks. These guys should actually have a pretty good, entertaining matchup. Oh, I am really warming up to this Constable Corbin thing. But Finn, uh, you know what I would personally like to see? I would actually like to see Finn come out on top, but then maybe the next couple of weeks on Monday Night Raw, Corbin still tries to continue to stick it to Balor. And maybe just eventually you get a cameo from Stephanie McMahon, who, long story, pretty much, long story short, pretty much checkmate Baron Corbin as far as why she put him in the position that she had put him in, and basically kind of straightens him out a little bit, so to speak. But I'm seeing Finn Balor win, but Baron's going to continue to pick on him. Just keep everything that I just said in mind about that. Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens. Two have actually been having a good feud with each other here. I say you make Braun look strong. You getting ready to go in the Summerslam season. But then you could make the argument, who needs this win more? Braun's got the briefcase, so he could pretty much cash in at any minute. Yeah. I think Kevin is fine either way. Kevin Owens is fine either way. He really doesn't need the win. The man is fine either way. I think this is more about Braun pushing Braun, putting him to that forefront, yet he's chilling in the background, kind of reminding everybody, hey, I can cash in this briefcase at any moment. I'm liking Braun Strowman for the win. What I'd give to see Sami Zayn make a little bit of a cameo, try to extract some type of revenge for Braun Strowman, storyline wise, sidelining his ass for a hot minute. Dolph Ziggler defends the Intercontinental title against Seth Rollins, 30-minute Iron Man match. I don't know why I was thinking 30-minute Iron Man match. IC title. Mm. Oh, interesting. You can look at this match two ways. On the one hand, it could implode. It could implode for Ziggler McIntyre. I can see this match being booked in a way where there's some type of a ooh. Mm. I would actually book it like that. Yeah, I just got to brainstorm. You know, if I was booking this match in particular, I actually would have Seth Rollins come out first, and then I would have Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler jump Seth Rollins from behind, beat the crap out of him, take him on over to the Spanish announcers table, powerbomb his ass through that. Man, you just seriously gang up on Seth Rollins. And then afterwards, roll him in the ring, have the referee start the bell. There's your first pinfall right there. Seth Rollins finally kind of comes to a little bit. Referee makes sure that Seth Rollins is on his feet. Dolph Ziggler then, once he gets the green light, goes in, does the zigzag. There's your pinfall number 2. I'm seeing like just off the break, like 2. Yeah, I'm seeing 2 pinfalls for Dolph Ziggler off the break. Now, if the referee is freaking smart, he will, between the first pinfall and the second pinfall, he'll actually eject Drew McIntyre from it. I mean, that just makes sense, but we know WWE, they usually like to be a little bit silly and continuing to have the other person be at ringside for a little bit. But look, if you got the referee that's seeing all of this go down between the first pinfall and the second pinfall, at some point, the ref has to get smartened up and say, McIntyre, you're out of here, hit the bricks, right? And then afterwards, I could see Dolph Ziggler just basically playing around with Seth Rollins for a little bit, kind of like, I got this. This guy ain't doing whatever. But then all of a sudden, Seth Rollins gets a roll up. Now it's 1-2. Maybe you could have Ziggler just in disbelief or whatever. Seth Rollins kind of rolls out, catches a breather for a little bit. Dolph Ziggler rolls out of the ring, run towards him. Something weird happens where Rollins moves out of the way in time. And maybe as Rollins is getting ready to move out the way, he actually grabs maybe Ziggler by the arm, uses Ziggler's charging momentum to basically send him crashing into some steel steps. And that's how maybe Seth Rollins can kind of get back on the rebound or whatnot. I'm going to say, oh man, this is an interesting one. I'm going to say Rollins wins back the Intercontinental title. I'm actually going to say Rollins wins back the Intercontinental title. Let's go with the next one here. How many more matches have we got here? Looking at the rest of this card here. What's the rest of the card here? Okay. Bludgeon Brothers taking on Team Hell No, SmackDown Tag Titles. SummerSlam's around the corner. This is a tricky one because Daniel Bryan has let it be known he's very interested in a part-time schedule. He wants to be on a limited schedule. And can you blame the man? I mean, if you took the time out to read Daniel Bryan's book, I'm not going to spoil the ending for you guys, but just the way that it ends, I know I legitimately felt ecstatic for him when he got the news that he was going to become a dad. And so I would imagine that once you're able to bring a child into the world, life as you know it changes because it's all about that little person and trying to do any and everything in your power to spend as much time with that child, be a part of that child's life. And, you got a family now, you got responsibilities to them and everything. So I don't think there's enough money in the world to make Daniel Bryan do a full-time schedule. I'm just not seeing that. There's not enough money in the world. So this is a tricky one right here. It's a very delicate one too, because there's part of me that's screaming, put the SmackDown tag titles on Kane and Daniel Bryan. And you know what? I'm gonna bite that carrot. I'm actually gonna jump out there. You know why I'm gonna jump out there? Because at this point, all eyes need to be on SummerSlam. You got to sell the hell out of SummerSlam. You got to sell them network subscriptions. You got to encourage new subscriptions. You got to sell them SummerSlam tickets at the gate, right? You got to sell SummerSlam access and all that. I'm just looking at things from a marketing standpoint. Daniel Bryan, Kane, Team Hell No, SmackDown Tag Champions going into SummerSlam. It's got a better ring to it. Do you have them take on the Bludgeon Brothers? Not at SummerSlam. I think the Bludgeon Brothers will get their rematch on an episode of SmackDown, but honestly, I think you need to pay it forward. And when I say you need to pay it forward, I personally would love to see Team Hell No feud with Sanity at SummerSlam. If you want to talk about really paying it forward, that's what I would do. Or maybe you do a wow, that would be something. Yeah, just got to brainstorm. Maybe you could actually do a fatal five-way. Maybe you do the Bludgeon Brothers, Team Hell No, New Day, Sanity, and the Usos. Maybe you do a ladder match for the SmackDown tag titles. That would be kind of interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing something like that go down. Kind of give you something to marinate on for a little bit. But nah, I'm going with Team Hell No for the SmackDown tag titles. Carmella, Asuka, James Ellsworth will be suspended above the ring in a shark cage. You know, it's kind of had me thinking about that spot where wasn't it Jericho that was put in a shark cage a couple of years ago? That's how I'm looking at this one. Ellsworth is going to figure out some type of a way to get his tiny little body out of that shark cage and somehow help out Carmella retain her SmackDown Women's title. I'm just seeing that go down. Now, as far as what could be next for Carmella at SummerSlam, I think Charlotte. I think Charlotte's going to be waiting in the wings for Carmella because she never really, truly, properly got that one-on-one match, no distractions, no excuses, you know. Yeah, I'm just I'm just seeing for some weird reason Charlotte. I'm seeing Charlotte and Carmella locking it up again. Whether or not Carmella comes away at SummerSlam, that's a different story. Matt Hardy, Bray Wyatt taking on the B team for the Raw tag titles. Hardy, Wyatt. I can't even believe I wasted that much more time thinking about that. I mean, come on, man. Why are we gonna blow our entire load on Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel like that? No, 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 no. These wins that Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, they've been getting off these guys these past couple of weeks. It's just basically all designed to just build them up. Quite honestly, that's all it's been about. It's just been about building them up, making them look very strong, making them look very relevant and everything. That's all that's basically about. I'm seeing a little bit of lag going on here, guys. Let me make sure you guys are okay here. Seeing a little bit of lag here. Okay, you guys are good. I wonder what was going on there. There was a little bit of lag a few seconds ago. That's kind of weird. Let's see. Let's keep going here. So I offered you my pick on that one. AJ Styles, Rusev, WWE Championship, AJ. I'm liking AJ. But then the question becomes, well, who does AJ face at SummerSlam? I keep going back to Daniel Bryan because as much as I like Daniel Bryan and Kane winning the SmackDown tag titles, I also look at, well, what about Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles at SummerSlam? I mean, that's some serious money right there as well. Damn. That's a tricky one, man. That is a tricky one. Oh, man. I don't know, guys. I don't know. You know what? If I was booking this, first of all, AJ Styles definitely over Rusev at Extreme Rules, but I'm just kind of thinking about SummerSlam a little bit. Maybe you do some type of a mini tournament, and Kane and Bryan, they enter that tournament as far as like trying to figure out who's going to be the number one contender to face AJ Styles at SummerSlam. Okay, so Daniel Bryan could hold the world title and he could hold on to the tag titles. It's got a nice little ring to it, actually. Yeah. You got to forgive me if I'm also thinking about SummerSlam right now, but everything, like the way I'm looking at Extreme Rules right now, I just think everything is just basically setting up SummerSlam. So that's basically how I'm looking at it. Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, Raw Women's title. Ronda Rousey's going to be there. By the way, I love that spot that went down with Ronda Rousey and the WWE 2K19 trailer. That was pretty badass. I loved it. They use the right type of marketing, I felt, to really make you connect with Ronda Rousey, because everybody that has followed the career of Ronda Rousey knows how close she was actually to the late Roddy Piper. And to use those sound bites that they were able to use of Roddy, I thought it was great. I thought it was great, and it brought a big old smile to my face seeing that trailer. I was actually pretty fucking pumped for that. We still don't quite know all the contents though, as far as that collector's edition, which I did pre-order, and we still don't know what all is gonna be involved in that bad boy. So you don't say. Yeah, we been got that. We've been got that. WWE is claiming some content on my shit right now. Whatever. Anyway, let's see. So we talked about that. What were we talking about here? Oh, Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax. Sorry, guys. Alexa Bliss is gonna retain. I said a couple of weeks ago, the way I'm kind of feeling this so far, I think it's gonna be a triple threat match for the Raw Women's Championship. I think it's ultimately going to be Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, Ronda Rousey for the title. If not that, then maybe Alexa Bliss versus Ronda Rousey one-on-one. I mean, if you ask me honestly, do we really need a triple threat going into SummerSlam between these three girls? No, you don't. You really don't. You could just straight up have Bliss take on Ronda Rousey, and I think that would be a really good matchup, but I'm leaning more towards a triple threat. I'm just seeing through some type of shenanigans, Alexa Bliss doesn't just beat Nia cleanly in the middle of the ring. Something is going to warrant Nia getting another opportunity, and then even at that, I don't think Nia is going to come away losing cleanly. I think when it's all said and done, whether some of you guys like it or not, I think by design, it's going to be a triple threat. And I actually would be okay with that. I think regardless, either way, we win. But I'm encouraging this to turn into a triple threat at SummerSlam, because when you just look at the comparison physically of Ronda and Alexa. Ronda looks like she could just tear that little thing up. Okay, so I don't know. I think maybe you need to go in the direction of maybe having it be a triple threat. We'll see. Pre-show matchup: New Day taking on Sanity, tables match. Oh, that should be a damn good matchup too. Damn, that's an opener. That's ridiculous. Sanity. I'm always talking about paying it forward. I got to go with Sanity on that one. Could be Eric Young, Alexander Wolf. Oh, wait. It's a ooh. So it's 6-man. Oh, this should be really good. So it looks like all 3 members of New Day are going to be taking all 3 members of Sanity on. Yeah, that should be killer fucking good. Yeah, I'm liking that one. All right, so once again, I'm looking at Sanity winning the tables match for your pre-show. Bliss retains the Raw Women's title. AJ Styles retains the WWE Championship. Hardy, Wyatt retain the Raw tag titles. Carmella retains the SmackDown tag titles. Kane, Daniel Bryan win the SmackDown tag titles. Rollins wins the Intercontinental title. Lashley defeats Roman Reigns. Jeff Hardy retains the United States title. Balor defeats Baron Corbin, and Braun Strowman defeats Kevin Owens. A little bit kind of one-sided almost. Not really too much of a shakeup going on there, the way I'm looking at it right now. All right. See how we're doing on Showtime here. Told you guys I kind of want to be out of here before midnight. So we're about... I had some music playing earlier. Okay, so I can go just a couple of more minutes, and show's definitely going to be under 90 minutes. Right now, want to take this time out to thank some of our show sponsors, because without their kind contributions, shows like what you're checking out right now would not be free. So we want to recognize them, and we also want to recognize our Patreon members, our Patreon family. Shout out to them. They help us keep the lights on, man. Patreon members, shout out to the beautiful, the lovely Courtney Summers. Shout out to the Michael Wolf. Shout out to John Davis. Shout out to my good friend Anthony Missionary Thomas of Wrestling Soup. And shout out to Joe Raymond Jr. Don't forget, there's going to be a special edition of Wrestling with the Topics that'll be available on demand and on the downloads. You guys will be able to access that. I still don't know if I'm going to be dropping that Wednesday night or Thursday night. So just if you're following me throughout social media, just keep your eyes and ears peeled. Normally my pattern when I put out a new RCWR show, I kind of like for that to get the plays and the downloads before I put out something else. So most likely it'll be Thursday. I'll drop it. I don't know. We'll see. I'll take a look at the numbers for tonight's show like tomorrow afternoon, and if I like where it's going so far, then maybe I'll actually put that on the downloads for you guys tomorrow. So we'll wait and we'll see how that comes about. All right, let's recognize some of these show sponsors here. We got a new sponsor tonight that we want to welcome, as we're going to be working with them for the next couple of weeks. SantraKitchen.com. SantraKitchen.com. They sell the best and affordable small kitchen appliances, mugs, and kitchen culinary tools with 30-day money-back guarantees. You heard me right. 30-day money-back guarantee. Check them out right now at SantraKitchen.com. That's SANTRA kitchen.com. SantraKitchen.com. Also, the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders is brought to you in part by Destination Vacations Travel Agency. If you need help planning your next vacation, don't have time to search for the best deals and locations, Destinations Vacations Travel Agency can help. Give them a call, area code 630-491-6864. That's area code 630-491-6864. Also, The RCWR Show is brought to you in part by MyLotteryWinningSecrets.com. Learn from a lottery winner that won the jackpot 7 consecutive times with his great tips and methods. Learn more at MyLotteryWinningSecrets.com. Lord knows I need to really stop faking and be talking to him right now. I need to do some more follow-ups with him because I called myself spending $5 total on a couple of new scratch-off tickets. Out here in the DMV, you've got this new game that a buddy of mine had hit me up to, which is, you guys are familiar with Old Bay seasoning? Well, there are these tickets that are Old Bay seasoning tickets, and you got to match up certain, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out the whole scratch and sniff thing. But the tickets, when you scratch, they literally smell like Old Bay seasoning. I bullshit you not. They legitimately smell like Old Bay seasoning. And I played that. I was like, damn. And then I bought something for $1. And none of these I played. I actually just watched the missus scratch them. I'm like, did we win anything? She goes, nah. I'm like, well, how you play these again? She goes, you just scratch. I'm like, well, I know that, but like, what's the object? And I don't know these things. So I'm a caveman. I don't know these things, Your Honor. Lay Phil Hartman as the caveman lawyer on Saturday Night Live. We're also brought to you in part by Midwest Ecom Conference that is going down in just a couple of weeks, July 20th through the 21st in Minneapolis, Minnesota. If you're looking to become a successful eBay or Amazon seller, want to work on building a better income for yourself, your family, work your own hours as you see fit, learn so much more at this 2-day event about all things e-commerce for eBay and Amazon sellers. It's a fun 2-day event. For registration, tickets, more information, head on over to MidwestEcom.com. That's MidwestEcom.com. And you know, .ws domains, it's on the rise. It's becoming popular. The .nets, the .coms, the .infos, all of those are starting to run out. But your .ws's, now that's a game changer. If you're interested in selling .ws domains, head on over to www.getrichalso.ws. That's getrichalso.ws. And lastly, for those of you that are struggling with your credit score, as far as bringing it up to par, get in contact with my friends over at nosweatedcredit.biz. They can help. They can help tremendously. If you have at least 5 negative items on your credit report, they can remove those credit reports up to 5 now, in as little as 5 business days. Just because you look at one credit report and you go, I'm good. Nah, my pretty babies, you got to look at all 3 credit reports, and these guys will look at all 3 credit reports and help you remove those 5 negative items on your report. So check them out when you guys get a chance. By the way, for those of you that had missed it, we're actually using a new intro for the RCWR show. When we air on Tuesdays, you guys that are listening on the downloads, you'll actually be able to hear it. But we want to give a special shout out to a really damn good artist too. If you guys are into 9 Inch Nails, if you're a little bit into the industrial rock, you know, industrial / instrumental type of music, kind of techno, almost borderline club music, but not, you know, you're in the Moby and all that, you guys will actually like this guy. I love his shit. It's really good. His name is Zen Novoice. That's Novice. And the song that we're using for our new intro for the next couple of weeks, it's called Nothing Special. You could check him out on Spotify. We actually will have the link available for you. As a matter of fact, it will be in the episode description of this very episode you're checking out right now. It doesn't look like I put it in the episode description just yet. But again, his name, want to make sure we show him love because we're using his music for the next couple of weeks. Zen, that's Z-E-N, Zen Novice, Novice. and he's got his music up on Spotify. Feel free to give him a follow on Instagram as well. Instagram Zen_no_vice. And again, his music is on Spotify. Great fucking shit, man. Great fucking music. All right, let's see. What else can we get into before we get ready to wrap it up here for the night here? Let's see. Just going through some more. Yeah, we could talk about that. Tessa Blanchard. She apparently, it was revealed earlier today, she apparently had signed a long-term deal. Now, we don't know the extent of the exact term, but apparently Impact Wrestling, they released a statement. They said that they have reached a long-term deal with Tessa Blanchard. And Tessa Blanchard, daughter of Tully Blanchard, WWE Hall of Famer. I tell you, man, I'm happy for her. I really am, because she's actually one of the bright spots that I enjoy when I watch Impact Wrestling. My God, she is just, and she is so young, but she is filling out, isn't she? I mean, she is really getting that muscular build down and everything. But man, every time I look at her, I just go, God damn, WWE, what the fuck were you guys thinking? What were you thinking? You had the opportunity to sign this woman. I'm sorry, but when I look at her, I go, man, all due respect to the Iconics, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, but this girl would be phenomenal on the roster right now. Her tearing it up with Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Asuka, Naomi. Oh my God, that would just it'd be good. It'd be fantastic. It'd be good right about now, man. I'm just scratching my head. You know what? She'd even be good down in NXT right now. I just don't understand how and why things did not work out between the two. And curious minds want to know. God damn it, I'm so goddamn curious. I don't know. I may try to see if she might be willing to come on the show and grant us a conversation, man. But I'm happy. I'm happy for her. I really, really am, because that is somebody, when I first had laid eyes on her in the WWE, I'm going, wow, you know, she had it. You know, the charisma, everything. She has that. She's like the complete package. And, you know, she's so young. She's light years away, light years ahead of everybody else. I mean, she gets it. It's in her fucking blood. And, you know, hey, that's their loss. That is their loss. Now, you know, she could eventually come on back somewhere down the road, you know, but sometimes I look at some talents and I just go, you know what? You're better than WWE. And if you ask me honestly, now look, NXT is part of WWE, but if in general, if you were to ask me straight up, Lee, is Tessa Blanchard better than WWE? I say yes, she is. She is better than WWE. She can do better than WWE. And I think that with the platform that she is being given on Impact Wrestling, she's really going to shine. Now, look, man, I don't agree. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care how many people want to do the interviews with Josh Matthews' wife. What is her name? Madison Rayne. And everybody want to play footsie and everything like that. I'm sorry, but what I watched last week of Madison Rayne defeating Tessa Blanchard, I cringed at that shit. I just cringed at that shit. If you give me the Madison Rayne that was in that ring before she got pregnant, before she went on the hiatus and everything, I would say, well, that Madison Rayne, in-ring wise, leaps and bounds of improvement. Okay, sure. Because I know she's got this whole swan song. What is it? Going in the Slammiversary or whatever. But just seeing that match was weak as fuck. Tessa did her part, but Madison for me just funked all that up as far as I'm concerned. I know that's the unpopular thing for me, but look, I'm not in this to be popular. I'm just not. If it smells like shit, I'm going to call it for what it was. And I would just be dumbfounded to see a boatload of Impact Wrestling fans that will legitimately look at that match between Madison Rayne and Tessa Blanchard last week on Impact and say, "No, Lee, that was phenomenal. What are you talking about, man? They both no. Madison, that just I didn't like it. I didn't like it whatsoever. But I understood the name of the game at the end of the day. Didn't like it." But I understood what it was all about. And Tessa will have her time in the sun. She will. See, what else can we get into real quick here? Talked about that. Let's look at looking at my notes here real quick. I don't want to get into that. I'm still trying to make sense of that. I'm not going to get into that because that would just set me off on a whole different other topic. I'm not going to get into that. I'll get into, let me see how much time I got. All right, I'll get into 2 more topics and we'll go ahead and we'll call it a night. All right, so I'm going a little bit past midnight, but that's all right. All right, so at this point, we're going to be done for sure before 12:15, and I'm actually okay with that. So I thought this was interesting. For those of you that maybe had went out to see Ant-Man, I have not seen Ant-Man yet. I'm actually going to be seeing it this weekend, and I'm probably going to be doing a special 30 with Lee for you Patreon members. By the way, patreon.com/RCWR Show. Get access to great content like 30 with Lee, Wrestling with the Topics, bonus video and audio content. Starting at just $5 a month, man, you get access to a boatload of stuff. But for those of you that saw Ant-Man, you may find this a little bit interesting. Lawrence Fishburne, as you all know, he had an opportunity to go be Perry White once again in the Justice League movie. However, he decided to, well, for whatever respected reason, it wasn't a situation where he decided to sit it out. Seems as though Warner Brother executives didn't really necessarily give him that olive branch once it was revealed that he had went on board with Marvel and Ant-Man. And he recently had conducted a interview, and it looks like he had did this interview with, I'm trying to give credit where credit's due here. I actually don't see who he gave the interview to, so you guys got to forgive me. I don't see it. But he was quoted saying, "I don't think I'm still on call," because the question was asked, "Hey, are you still on call with Warner Brothers, for the DC universe? What's going on?" And he said, "I don't think I'm still on call. I was unfortunately unable to do some work on what turned out to be the Justice League movie. I don't know that I need to go back or if they'll have me back or not, but I was grateful to have seen, or correction, I was grateful to have been a part of it. I loved working with Zack Snyder. I think he makes an incredible superhero movie. I'm just excited to be a part of this, the Marvel universe. I'm just excited to be a part of this now." And he was also asked if he could be convinced to return for Man of Steel 2 if and when it happens. I haven't heard anything about it. They just fell behind the 8 ball. I really wish they had started 20 years ago, but that's all right. They're where they are. So nice, pretty little ribbon around that one. Interesting. He said, "I wish they would have started 20 years ago." I guess that's kind of his way of saying, hey, I was a little bit younger. Would have been really nice to maybe, kind of sounds like maybe he was more interested in a somewhat lead role or whatever. I don't know, but honestly, I'm happy that Lawrence Fishburne is back in the Marvel world because I'm still keeping my fingers crossed that eventually we can get the Silver Surfer up and running again. Because say what you will about that bad movie, Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, but Silver Surfer in that movie was fucking badass, and Lawrence Fishburne providing the voice for Silver Surfer which for me, Silver Surfer is one of my most favorite underrated Marvel characters of all time. Very underrated character. Um, and to see that this merger deal that's coming about with 20th Century Fox and Disney and all that, it gives me a lot of hope that eventually we're going to see Silver Surfer take to the big screen again. I just hope that if everything aligns itself perfectly, if and when we do see Silver Surfer, is going to be because of Galactus, and we're going to get a real fucking Galactus, not some fucking dirt in the wind as they as we had saw in Rise of the Silver Surfer. So we'll see how that one goes. And also, I'm not sure how many of you guys had heard about this one. Another piece of comic book news I wanted to pass to you guys. Raekwon Phoenix played Johnny Cash, Walk the Line. Apparently, he has finalized the deal to star as the Joker in a Warner Brothers production. Apparently, it's going to be telling the origin of the Clown Prince of Crime, the Joker. And over the past couple of years, people have been asking him, is it true? Is it true? Are you gonna? And he's been a little bit kind of dancing around that question. But according to THR, and they're usually pretty fucking reputable, they're saying that he finalized the deal to portray the character. And if you do a Bing or Google search and you type in how could Raekwon Phoenix look as the Joker, you see a really cool picture that's floating around. You'll know it when you see it. And you kind of have a really good idea on just how exactly he might look. And I think, honestly, he is such a very diverse actor, wide range actor. I mean, he's got that inner rage and that psychotic. He's got it. I definitely feel he's going to be able to pull off the Joker very well, to the point I think he's going to do more of a phenomenal job than Jared Leto. Quite honestly, I don't look. I still haven't watched Suicide Squad. I just refuse to watch it. I just do. Don't ask me why. It just doesn't get me. It doesn't scream watch. Just doesn't scream watch. And before we get ready to wrap it up, I definitely want to extend my heartfelt condolences while we were talking about some of these comic book movie pieces of news and everything. I want to give a shout out to the late Steve Ditko. Steve Ditko, that name should be synonymous, man. He was the artist and co-creator with Stan Lee of some of Marvel's most popular superheroes. That includes Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. Lord knows one of the ways I properly had got introduced to the world of comic books was through comic strips. And I would be introduced to the comic strips as a little kid when my mom and or dad would bring home the newspaper. And I used to love reading the newspaper daily, because every day I would always grab a pair of scissors and I would ask my mom or dad if they were done with the comic section. And I would take the comic section, and I remember vividly one of the comic strips I used to always love cutting out was Spider-Man. And back then it was in black and white. However, as the later years had progressed, particularly Saturday, and then eventually it was Saturday and Sunday, you would get a colorized Spider-Man comic strip. And it wasn't nothing much. It was basically, typically you would get 4 panels, sometimes a max of 6, if you were lucky. And they would just, the way they would stretch it out was just hilarious. Like, yeah, I remember there was one strip where Spider-Man was thinking about opening a door, but his spider sense was tingling. So you see him approach the door, and he's getting ready to touch the doorknob, and he's like, hey, spider sense is tingling. There's danger ahead. And it was like, to be continued. And it was always to be continued, to be continued, to be continued. And they basically did those comic book squares like that. And I used to love cutting them out, and I used to love just collecting stacks of them. And just one day, if I was just really, 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 really bored, I would kick back and I would actually, it was like a little mini scrapbook, and I would just flip through those bad boys and see what was going on. And I used to love reading those from Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Used to love those. A big, big influence on future comic book artists, writers, different comic book companies. Um, Ain't gonna be another one like him, man. I mean, that is truly a, other than Stan Lee now, you talk about a throwback to how the comic book industry started off, eventually what it had became to be, the experimental period, when really the 50s, 60s, 70s and all that. And then, comic books trying to find a new identity in the 80s before trying to be more edgier in the 90s and all that. Nobody can really talk about that more candidly than a guy like Steve Ditko and a guy like Stan Lee. So it was really nice seeing all the touching, warm tributes that had came in over his passing that had came about recently. It definitely made me sad. We didn't get a chance to talk about it initially when he had passed because I was sidetracked with some other stuff, but definitely he will tremendously be missed. Tremendously, man. Seriously. Nice fond memory though. Not nice fond memory though of the Spider-Man comic strip. Used to love collecting those. All right. So on that note, we pretty much got us about a 1 hour, 50-minute show. So that's good. About 3 minutes shy of past 12:15. So I'll take that. That's good for me. All right. So for those of you that's going to be waiting for this on the downloads, give me about 25 minutes and I will have this uploaded. I just basically got to slap on the intro. You guys will be good to go. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. More bonus audio, video content. You guys, like I said earlier, wrestling with the topics. I'm going to release that for you guys. Still not sure yet. Might be Wednesday night, might be definitely Thursday. So just follow me on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, the RCWR Show. That way you'll know about it. Also, there's going to be a special edition of the RCWR Show next week. It's going to be a Q&A edition. I want to just dedicate a majority of the show to answering some of you guys' questions. It can be wrestling, it can be non-wrestling related. By now, you kind of have a good feel for the show. So come on with questions. If you want to get a jump start right now, there's actually a question thread that's on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/the RCWR Show. Click on the communities tab and it's right there. I'm not going to be posting anything else. The question thread is right there. I'll also be posting a question thread up on Facebook for you guys to do as well. If you can't think of a question right now, maybe you'll have something next week when we're live. That's good. But I would love it if you could start sending in the questions now so I can have a little bit of time to look over your questions, basically filter which ones I want to get into and everything. All right. Again, it could be wrestling, non-wrestling. Shout out to Austin, Gino, Nathan, Eyeball, DJ Subia, Subia, Steven. Shout out to Tony. Shout out to Catherine. Shout out to Ozzy. Shout out to Ayu. Shout out to everybody that's going to be checking this out on demand and on the download. Smash that like button. And if you haven't done so already, do subscribe so you never miss out on all the great content coming at you on a week-to-week basis. Keep your eyes peeled for that bonus content coming on the downloads. I'll be with you guys this Sunday, for the Extreme Rules after show. That'll be on Sunday, July the 15th. We will be on as soon as that event concludes. So do join us. That should be a fun episode. All right, guys. I'm wishing all y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go round. Good night and a very good morning.